In a quiet corner of northwest Arkansas sits a town most Americans have never heard of. Its name is Bentonville. And from this unremarkable place, a single family built the largest company in human history. They are the Waltons, and they are worth more than any other family on earth. Together, the Walton family is estimated to be worth well over $400 billion. That is more than the Waltons, the Kochs, and many other dynasties combined. But their story does not begin in a boardroom. It begins with a Depression-era boy learning to squeeze a nickel until it screamed. Samuel Moore Walton was born in 1918 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. His family scraped through the Great Depression, moving from town to town as his father worked as a farm loan appraiser. Sam milked cows, delivered newspapers, and sold magazine subscriptions. He learned early that pennies mattered, and that lesson never left him. Sam studied at the University of Missouri, then joined the J.C. Penney Company as a management trainee. He was hooked on retail. After serving in the Army during World War II, he took his savings and a loan from his father-in-law and bought a small variety store in Newport, Arkansas. It was 1945, and the empire had begun. That first Ben Franklin franchise in Newport became the best-performing store in the region. But Sam made a rookie mistake. He had signed a lease with no renewal clause, and when the landlord saw his success, he refused to renew and took the store for his own son. Sam was devastated, but he refused to quit. In 1950, Sam moved to Bentonville and opened Walton's Five and Dime on the town square. He obsessed over low prices and high volume, driving hundreds of miles to find cheaper suppliers. He flew his own small plane to scout new towns. By the early 1960s, he ran more than a dozen stores, but he wanted something bigger. On July 2, 1962, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart Discount City in Rogers, Arkansas. The idea was radical. Massive stores in small rural towns that big chains ignored, selling everything at rock-bottom prices. Competitors laughed. They said no one would drive to a giant discount barn in the middle of nowhere. They were spectacularly wrong. The formula worked like magic. Walmart bought in enormous quantities, cut costs everywhere, and passed savings to customers. Sam built his own distribution centers and trucking fleet so stores were always stocked. He planted new stores in rings around each warehouse, expanding like a spreading fire across the American South. In 1970, Walmart went public on the New York Stock Exchange. Sam Walton and his family kept the overwhelming majority of shares, and that single decision would make them the richest family in the world. Anyone who invested $1,000 in that IPO would eventually be sitting on millions. The stock split again and again. By 1980, Walmart had 276 stores and $1 billion in sales. By 1990, it had overtaken Kmart and Sears to become the largest retailer in America. Sam Walton drove an old pickup truck, wore a Walmart ball cap, and greeted employees by name. To the public, he was a folksy country billionaire who never forgot where he came from. In 1985, Forbes named Sam Walton the richest man in America. Reporters descended on Bentonville expecting mansions and yachts. Instead, they found a modest man in a small town who still got his hair cut at the local barber shop. He hated the attention. He wanted people to focus on the business, not the money. Sam and his wife Helen had 4 children: Rob, John, Jim, and Alice. Each would inherit an enormous stake in the company. Sam had done something clever decades earlier. In 1953, he set up a family partnership, dividing ownership among his children early to shield the fortune from estate taxes. It was one of the smartest wealth moves ever made. In 1992, Sam Walton died of cancer at age 74. Just weeks earlier, President George H.W. Bush had awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom in his own store. When Sam passed, his stake did not trigger a massive tax bill because of that early planning. The fortune flowed intact to the next generation. After Sam's death, the family held on tight. Rob Walton, the eldest son, became chairman of Walmart and led the company for over 2 decades. Under his watch, Walmart expanded across the globe, into Mexico, China, the United Kingdom, and beyond. The little Arkansas discount store became a planet-spanning colossus. Jim Walton took over the family's banking and media interests, running Arvest Bank, which operates across Arkansas and neighboring states. He also controls the family's newspaper company. Jim is often the wealthiest of the siblings on paper, and he has kept the lowest profile, rarely giving interviews or appearing in public. Alice Walton, the only daughter, took a different path. She never worked in the stores. Instead, she poured her fortune into art, building the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville. She spent hundreds of millions acquiring masterpieces, turning a small Arkansas town into an unlikely cultural destination for the whole country. John Walton, the second son, was perhaps the most adventurous. A decorated Vietnam War Green Beret, he championed school choice and education reform. Tragically, in 2005, John died when the experimental ultralight aircraft he was piloting crashed near his Wyoming ranch. His death was a devastating blow to the family. The engine of all this wealth is Walton Enterprises and the Walton Family Holding Company, which controls roughly 45% of Walmart's shares. That single stake is worth hundreds of billions. Every time Walmart pays a dividend, billions of dollars flow to the family. They earn more in dividends alone than most people could imagine. Today, Walmart employs roughly 2.1 million people worldwide, making it the largest private employer on the planet. It rings up over $600 billion in annual revenue. In many American towns, Walmart is the biggest employer, the biggest store, and the center of economic life. The Waltons touch nearly every household in America. In Arkansas, the family's grip is almost total. Bentonville and the surrounding region have been transformed by Walmart money. Suppliers from around the world open offices there just to be close to the buyers. The University of Arkansas, local hospitals, roads, and museums all carry the fingerprints of Walton wealth. The Walton Family Foundation is one of the largest charitable foundations in the world. It pours money into education reform, charter schools, and environmental causes like protecting rivers and oceans. Critics argue the foundation is also a way to shape policy and public life in directions the family favors, all while enjoying tax advantages. But the empire has never been free of controversy. For decades, Walmart has faced accusations over low wages, aggressive anti-union tactics, and the destruction of small-town Main Street businesses. When a Walmart opens, local hardware stores, pharmacies, and grocers often close within a few years. The savings for shoppers came at a real cost. Walmart has paid out enormous settlements over the years, including cases involving worker overtime and discrimination claims. Critics point out that while the Waltons are worth hundreds of billions, many of their workers have historically relied on public assistance programs. The gap between the owners and the workers became a national debate. Yet, the wealth keeps compounding. As Walmart's stock has climbed, the family's fortune has swelled by billions in a single day. Because they own so much of the company, even a small rise in the share price translates into staggering gains. Their net worth grows faster than almost anyone can track. Now, the third generation is stepping forward. Sam Walton's grandchildren, like Stuart Walton and Tom Walton, are reshaping Bentonville into a hub for aviation, cycling, and startups. They have built world-class mountain biking trails and are turning the town into an outdoor and tech destination. The dynasty is evolving, not fading. Greg Penner, who married into the family, became chairman of Walmart, keeping control firmly in Walton hands. He is also part owner of an NFL franchise, the Denver Broncos, alongside Rob Walton, who led a record-breaking multi-billion-dollar purchase of the team. The family is now planting flags far beyond retail. The family's real estate and holdings stretch across the country. There are sprawling ranches, waterfront estates, and private aircraft. Rob Walton is famous for one of the finest classic car collections in the world, including rare Ferraris worth tens of millions. Behind the humble image is truly extraordinary private luxury. Alice Walton has continued expanding her cultural empire, launching a medical school in Bentonville focused on whole health care. Crystal Bridges keeps growing, drawing millions of visitors to a town of just 50,000 people. She has personally spent hundreds of millions turning the family's home base into a magnet for art and health. So, how much is the family really worth? Estimates place the Walton fortune at somewhere between $400 and $450 billion, making them by most measures the richest family on the planet. That is more than the entire economy of many countries. And every year, as Walmart grows, that number climbs even higher. To put it in perspective, the Waltons collectively earn billions in dividends every single year, without selling a single share. That income alone would rank them among the wealthiest people alive. Their money makes money while they sleep, a self-sustaining engine built by a man in a pickup truck. The family has largely stayed unified, avoiding the bitter feuds that destroyed other dynasties like the Pritzkers or the Redstones. They keep decisions inside Walton Enterprises. They keep a low profile, and they keep control. That discipline is exactly why the fortune has survived and multiplied across 3 generations. Critics still ask a hard question. Is it healthy for one family to hold so much economic power over an entire state and, arguably, an entire nation's retail landscape? The Waltons shape what we buy, where we shop, how much workers earn, and even which schools get funded. Few families in history have wielded such quiet influence. From a single variety store in Newport to more than 10,000 locations worldwide, the Walton story is the ultimate American tale of ambition, thrift, and staggering scale. Sam Walton believed in one simple idea: sell more for less to everyone. That idea built the largest fortune the world has ever known. Today, the sun never sets on the Walton Empire. It stretches from the aisles of a supercenter in Texas to a factory in Asia to an art museum in Arkansas, and it all still flows back to that quiet town square in Bentonville, where a boy who counted pennies became the founder of the richest dynasty on earth. The question now is what the 4th generation will do with all this power. Will they hold the empire together? Or will the greatest fortune in history finally begin to fracture? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Walton dynasty, subscribe to New Age Media for more untold stories of wealth and power.